One of my goals when I was planning this tank was to keep a large shoal of anthias. I've always been mesmerized by shoaling behavior, the way a group of fish almost becomes a new entity as a collective. I was hoping this tank would be large enough to support a proper shoal, but unfortunately I went through several rounds of losses in quarantine before I got 6 to stick around. Then I lost another after I moved them to the main display. Anthias are notoriously frail and finicky, but now I know my dreams of a shoal were doomed by something much more active and dangerous. A rare infection that ultimately resulted in surgery and nearly put an end to my time as a reef keeper. I'll put a link to that video at the end of this one. Even before I purchased any of the fish, I knew I needed to set up an auto feeder. Anthias, like many of the fish we keep in this hobby, spend nearly all day hunting and foraging on the reef. Unlike most other aquarium fish, however, anthias have such a high metabolism that they're actually prone to death by starvation if they're not fed multiple times per day. I don't work from home, so I needed an automated solution. And to some extent, I actually welcomed the opportunity to introduce additional variety into my fish's diet. I already offer them a mixture of frozen food I prepare myself through a 45-minute seafood chopping ordeal so smelly I now only do it when my wife is out of town. Oh, hi! Didn't see you there. While I have you, I want to let you know about 2 commitments I'm making right here and now. First, I will personally reply to every comment on this video. So if you have any questions about Bacon Cove or reef keeping in general, don't be shy about letting me know. Second, if I see you've made even one video about aquariums, I'm subscribing to your channel. Now, back to the video. I actually use 3 different types of pellets. 2 and 1 millimeter PE Mysis, and the small size TDO Chroma boost from Reef Nutrition. I'm mostly interested in feeding the smallest mouths in the tank, so the larger pellets are probably unnecessary, and I'll likely eliminate them once I run out. I'm using the Eheim Everyday Fish Feeder, which has worked great. It's easy, quiet, and just reliable. The way you program it reminds me of an old school digital alarm clock. The only problem I have with it is likely a result of my mixing pellet sizes. It has this adjustable door which allows you to control the amount of food released with each feeding. When I have it open enough to release the larger pellets, it releases way too much of the smaller ones. My solution was to block half the opening with tape. Fancy, I know. The feeder comes apart pretty easily. Actually, I couldn't get that cap off with one hand. Because the drum rotates, it would do a pretty good job mixing the food on its own, but I like to prep it ahead of time. My personal favorite anthias are lyretails, and honestly I've never understood why some people consider them basic. I'm often just as drawn to really common livestock as those super rare gems, both for fish and corals. I mean, I get it. I came super close to purchasing an Achilles tang before I thought better of it. Ultimately, I think tried and true livestock works better for my style of reefing. I do surprisingly poorly when my tank is struggling. It really troubles me. It sits with me and affects my entire mood. And there's usually some reason why an uncommon inhabitant is risky. Prone to illness, or very restricted diet, or likely to pick fights with tank mates. I've learned that for me, the risk often isn't worth the reward. So here's the part I'm really proud of. Because of the canopy and screen covers, I had essentially no real estate on which to set this thing. I wanted the feeder on the far end of the tank so the food wouldn't all go down the overflow. My solution was to build a little shelf off the side of the light rack like you see here. The food falls into a funnel and through this piece of silicone tubing I have braced against the closed loop return. The tube ends above the water line so it isn't visible at all when the cabinet door is closed. I think it's pretty nifty, and it works great. So here's the link to the video about the infection that I mentioned. It's got like a zillion views, so you should check it out. And I hope you'll consider subscribing as well, because I've got a lot more to say. I learned so much of what I know about reef keeping from YouTube, and I'm just thrilled to be able to pay even a little bit of that forward. So thanks so much for watching, and more to come soon.